So something to
That's right.
consider.
I mean, there are many who are saying that, frankly, the Biden administration should have acted sooner and faster, that hundreds of billions of dollars.
This is about the Houthi targets from the U.S. and U.K. I'm going to show you this while I go pee really
has
quickly.
been put at risk because the Houthis have held this area in the Red Sea at ransom.
Sorry, so just let me get this straight, Yalda. So we are bombing the poorest, one of the poorest countries in the world that has been under a humanitarian blockade. There has been famine. These people have been decimated. And we are bombing them because a couple of guys in dinghies in support for the Palestinians who are having a genocide committed against them. They're objecting to that, and we're bombing them. Come on now. I mean, this is just an insane world for us to even think. I'm so sorry your Amazon packages are delayed. I really am. Like, I wish mine came on time. But, you know, genocide, guys, genocide. There are 2 mothers a day dying in Gaza right now. It's 109 days into a conflict in which a humanitarian crisis has been declared to the world day in, day out.
By the way, Dr. Francois, there are many who are Yemen watchers who monitor and follow the Houthis who say this is doing wonders for their branding, actually, that it isn't just the Palestinian cause that they're focused on.
So call a ceasefire now and end the positive branding. If you want to stop the Houthis doing what they're doing, then call a ceasefire right now.
Do you genuinely believe that the Houthis would stop doing what they're doing?
They have literally said that that's why they're doing what they're doing. They have not previously blocked those routes for any other reason except this one. So yes, I do. And I also think the West needs to start to understand that you cannot just go around playing cowboys in the world. There are consequences to your actions. You cannot just go around bombing people's countries, ignoring...
I've never seen such... this is like, this is incredible.
International law and expect no repercussions. For every cause, there is a consequence. And just because you don't like a couple of guys trying to resist...
I mean, these are now prescribed terrorists.
Sure, according to Western governments.
Well, it's awesome. See, look, notice how she immediately hit the... Well, you're defending terrorists, by the way. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. Okay? They weren't. They weren't until last week. Biden decided. Who cares? Bullshit. Bullshit. Get out of here. The next phase of this is to say, well, they're slavers. They've done this, they've done that, right? It is ridiculous to call the Ansar Allah administration terrorists while simultaneously saying that the Saudis and the UAE and their actions upon Yemen, not terror, but good, is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah. Hasan, you should become religious. Freddy Fazballs. You want to spend an eternity in hell with the IDF? Fred, your name is Freddy Fazballs, okay? You're going there too.
Also, according to the Yemeni people, because they've
which is a Saudi-backed government, which is essentially our.
But the Yemenis who live, you know, under Houthi rule talk about the fact that this group continues to terrorize them as well.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. It's not true. You are always going to have people who are obviously objecting to their own individual governments. That part is, of course, true. But the notion that, like, God, the slavery thing is so funny, especially because, like, dude, the people bombing Yemen do infinitely more slavery. Like, it's wild to look at, like, the UAE and Saudi Arabia and what they're saying about Yemen as it pertains to slavery, and just like it's like if it's like if the Confederates were claiming that there was slavery happening in the North as well. Okay? Is there truth to that? There was wage slavery, some forms of course, institutionalized racism as well. But, like, it would be like claiming that the Confederates were actually fighting to abolish slavery in the North. Okay? That's what it feels like. Yemen women's rights non-existent. Fair. Like, these are obviously, it's not great. Okay. The point is, half the reason why it's not great is because these countries have not been able to, these countries have not even been able to like develop on their own without foreign interference. But more importantly than that, these are these bombing campaigns are not done to protect the slaves or free them or anything like that. It's just like such a stupid argument to make. Yeah. The notion that like our bombing campaign in Yemen is going to give women's rights to the Yemeni population is so fucking stupid. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay? Son, I'm Yemeni. I would like to clear things up for you. Go ahead, clear it up in the chat. Yemeni chatter. I mean, I hear a lot from Yemeni academics and journalists and whatnot in the past week or so since my interview, but the perfect position here, the position here is pretty easy to understand. It's okay, let's try ending the genocide in Gaza. And if the Houthis still keep going, okay, if the Houthis still keep going, then we'll deal with it there. It's bullshit. The Houthis weren't genocided? Oh, okay, got it. What? As a Yemeni, are you going to tell me, Pan-Arabist, that it was actually like the Houthis themselves that were responsible for the genocide and not the coalition forces? Is that what you're going to say? Because like even the Yemenis were genocided. Fair. This is true. Okay, that is correct. Yes. Both are bad. Okay, got it. Do you think Western nations that have destroyed these Middle Eastern nations should give humanitarian aid to rebuild the countries, or should we completely pull out of the region? No, I think that we should be doing a Marshall Plan without any sort of additional asks, like reparations to every country that we have bombed and destabilized. His name is Pan-Arabist, so I want to hear what he has to say. But I think you whitewashed the Houthi crimes. No, I don't. I don't whitewash the Houthi crimes at all, because I look at the greater crime, and that is genocide. If genocide is the greater crime, then that's it. Genocide is the greater crime. This is a perfectly normal position to have. And the genocide upon the Yemeni population is significant, is a direct consequence of the American proxies in the area and their interests in what happens in Yemen, or what should happen in Yemen. See, I like what they're doing now and I support their actions. Okay, so you and I are in 100% agreement then. Great. Not even a debate. It's like claiming you're pro Saddam for saying the American invasion of Iraq was bad. Exactly. It's exactly like that. It is identical to that, which is funny because, like, that is what they were saying back then. And that's kind of what a lot of people are saying now. The Houthi crimes of what? Being a militarized force? No, dude. They seized power in, I would say, a relatively opportunistic fashion due to the real interest from the Yemeni population to overthrow the leadership at the time. And in that process, given that this is like, given that this was already an incredibly poor country, and the regional actors and their bombing campaign that ensued, the things that they did in that process, were obviously, especially by Western standards, horrifying. Okay? That's it. As far as like child soldiers, for example, which, by the way, once again, the Saudi aligned forces also utilized. You're making things up. What am I making up right now? What have I said that's wrong? What, I mean, I hope you have a, I hope you have a take on this. Anyway. I'm a Yemeni and they were right now and before this, pan-Arab blaming them for the coalition that genocided the Yemenis that these mercenaries asked for and supported. Anyway. What? Bro, you can explain to me? You had that young boy Houthi pirate guy on the show after he went viral. He mentioned, if I remember right, that he didn't support pirates or Houthi as such. Yet the days after they are bombing Houthi pirate places. Where's the logic if they knew that most, if not all, these pirates wasn't a part of the Houthi, then bomb them? What? I don't even know what you're saying. The interview has nothing to do with the bombing. But if anything, I think people are mad because they want to make the bombing feel good and it makes them feel bad. I think you failed, but it's also important to mention that they're bad because it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose. I talk about like the banner that they have where they say curse the Jews is anti-Semitic, but overall there's no reason to mention this. Okay, it's like it's playing the same role over and over again. It's like constantly talking about condemning Hamas, condemn Hamas, condemn Hamas, condemn Hamas. Like it's just it's a way to just move the conversation back to a comfortable framing that like Western audiences want to understand and want to believe. And the reason why I don't want to do that is because in a situation between bad and worse, yeah, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with the bad when there's so much worse happening to the bad. That's it. Especially when I'm trying to help Americans come to terms and see the humanity in the Arab population, something that they have refused to do almost systematically. All right.
I'm no fan of the Houthis, apart from when they're blockading in favor of a ceasefire, which should have been called a long time ago. 55,000 people are dead in Gaza right now. There are over 60,000 people injured with no access to food, water, aid. How dare we have a conversation about trade when there are children right now being treated without anesthetic? Well,
it's funny because like the condemnation conversation also is so stupid because like there's never any condemnation for America's actions. And if you're even criticizing America's actions as an American, you are met with like condemn the Houthis, condemn the Houthis, condemn the Houthis, condemn Hamas, condemn Hamas. There is no condemnation for the IDF. And if we are looking at the lesser evil here, okay, America's actions in that region and Israel's actions in that region are significantly worse, Okay. And I'm a harm reduction guy. Okay. That's it. It's a false binary. It just lets you reduce reality to good or bad when these revolutionary forces require nuanced understanding, the same nuance the West was so quick to give Israel. Yeah. That's it. And it's being done by people who desperately want to cling on to any reason to feel good and morally righteous about blowing up targets inside of Yemen. That's it. Exactly what you just said. If you point out the base 24/7, which you already point out, it's going to give them more reason to hate them anyways when they're already talking or listening to you in bad faith. Probably. It's just that's it. I'm doing harm reduction. Okay.
Things that require us to make some sacrifices, and this would be one of them.
They do have the global economy, global markets hostage.
Good for them.
Bill Brad.
Wait, what did she say? Global market hostage?
Being
What?
treated without anesthetic.
Well,
there are things that require us to make some sacrifices, and this would be one of them.
They do have the global economy, global markets hostage.
Good for them.
They're keeping the global markets hostage? Yeah. Okay, what's worse? Genocide in Gaza or someone trying to hold the global markets hostage, okay, so that the genocide in Gaza stops? Especially when we have the opportunity and the capacity to stop the genocide in Gaza. And it's much simpler. Like, guys, there are certain things that are completely outside of Biden's power, okay? If there's a will, there's a way. I'm sure that he could do a better job, right? Or maybe even do things that are unconstitutional. And who gives a shit if, like, the Supreme Court doesn't agree with him or whatever, right? He could be a bit of a tyrant if he wanted to, right? In the direction that is positive, but won't do it because he's an institutionalist lib when it comes to, like, I don't know, having healthcare or something, giving every American healthcare. Like, there are a lot of things that he has to go through Congress on. Israel is not one of them. Anyone that tells you that Biden can't single-handedly cause Israel to cease its hostilities is completely oblivious to the power that the president has, and is also completely oblivious to the history of the American presidency and what the executive office has done in the past with other cessation of hostilities in Israel. Biden himself in 2021 literally made a phone call to stop Israel. Okay? One phone call. He said, it's over. It's done. Enough. And they did. Ronald Reagan has done this in the past. Okay? And ironically, Biden has actually sidestepped Congress time and time again when it comes to helping Israel. And here's the actual truth, okay? I can't believe I'm going to use this guy's tweets again, but I think it's very informative on how liberals, one, don't fully understand the things they speak on. Hold on. But still, that doesn't stop them from being, like, really smarmy. Where is it? I saw, like, a thread from Will Stansel. Okay, I don't know. Oh, here it is. Here it is. People keep saying, well, actually, Biden does have the power to unilaterally impose sanctions and order airstrikes, etc. Here it is. This would not work. Biden can't instruct Netanyahu to do anything. He can't even stop sending weapons without defying Congress. Wrong. He can do both of those things. He certainly can't simply command Netanyahu to create a Palestinian state conditioned on the return of hostages. It's an independent nation. Every single thing that Will Stansel mentioned here is demonstrably false. Okay? Every single part of this is wrong. Literally every single part of it. And he knows it too, because people yelled at him. It's frustrating because the widespread belief that Biden could simply call the whole thing off makes it harder to seek things he could do. Support a ceasefire, make noise about war crimes, which, by the way, he's not doing. Not doing either of these things, by the way. Why is he not doing either of those things? I don't know. express much more public sympathy for Gazans. People would clearly see those as dodges. Yeah, that's the reason why Biden is not doing those things, because people would see them as dodges. Now, obviously, everyone yelled at him, and he immediately turned around and said, people keep saying, well, actually, Biden does have the power to unilaterally impose sanctions and order airstrikes, etc. But the point is that Congress would freak out if he turned hard anti-Israel. It would be a political catastrophe, and he'd lose. We're not going to, attack Israel. Oh, so Biden does have the power. It's just not politically favorable. So why didn't you say that up here? Why didn't you just come out of the gates swinging with, well, actually, Biden could unilaterally, single-handedly impose sanctions, or even stop Israel, not give Israel the weapons, okay? Not give Israel the munitions, even though it is currently sidestepping Congress in its effort to send as many dumb bombs to Israel as possible, okay? So why didn't you say that in the beginning? Is it because you were oblivious to the reality? I suspect yes. You did not know that that is the case. And then people yelled at you, and then maybe you recognized that that was the case. So then you had to move the fucking goalposts and be like, well, it would be politically not favorable. Okay. Okay, then. But you didn't say that in the beginning. Okay? That's it. It's so stupid. It's a perfect distillation of the way liberals think and operate. Oh, actually, you silly idiot, you don't understand. The institutions do not allow him to do this. Oh, wait. He is actually overriding the institutional controls specifically to help Israel? Okay, well, if he didn't do that, then people would be mad at him, and therefore he would lose his power. All right, then what is the distinction between him and fucking Donald Trump then in this situation? Also, ironic considering that Biden is already incredibly unfavorable anyway. Is Will Stansel just a useful idiot? He's nothing. He's just the guy that everybody yells at on Twitter. But I like using his takes because they're, one, very dumb usually, and two, demonstrates liberal thought perfectly to a T. It's just like a Twitter guy that everybody fucking freaks out over. Yeah. Legal problems, political problems, and market problems get painted with one brush by liberals who don't care enough to make the distinction because they want to stack it in their favor to get the chance. Yes. Proud member of Do Something Twitter. Yeah. Do something. What is that something? Continuation of genocide, it seems. So, yeah. The right is saying he's wasting tax money like Vivek, and the left recognizes genocide as wrong. No. The reality is that, obviously, unconditional alliance with Israel is overwhelmingly popular in the demographics that do vote. That's just the truth. But I don't care. Okay? I think being strong and reining Israel in this regard, in this situation, would be great. You would look like a fucking badass. That's it. Nothing better to assert U.S. dominance than the call of the me watchdog. What? Guys, Joe Biden ran on the position that he was going to restore America's position globally. By the way, it's Kitschy. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. That was like 8 minutes ago but I didn't call it out at back then, and I'm calling it out now because it's at the top of the hour, and you've allowed 20 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Okay, so congratulations for letting 20 people no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's a 3-minute ad break now, by the way. But Biden was going to restore America's position and its soft power globally. It's Kitschy with another 20 gifted subs. Goddamn. And the D&D Andy with the 5 gifted subs. 20 more, why not? Thank you. Okay. All right, it's raining. It's raining gifted subs. But what Biden is doing now with this wishy-washy, soft peddling, send Israel all the guns and all the weapons in secrecy, while simultaneously publicly acting like you're actually trying to rein them back and dial it back, while their genocide continues and Benjamin Netanyahu publicly defies you on a daily fucking basis, all you're doing is taking the worst. You're taking the worst position. It's like how the Harvard president took the worst position. They were like, yeah, being pro-Palestine is actually, akin to Holocaust denial or being an advocate for genocide. But as a free speech maximalist, I think that's valid. That's the worst position you could take. You took on a faulty premise and then went along with the faulty premise that makes you look bad and defended it. For Joe Biden, he looks weak. If Joe Biden was a Republican and was saying, of course Israel's going to bomb these fucking Muslim dogs, are you kidding me? Suck my dick. Then at least he would look good. It would align. His narrative would align with his actions. With Biden, his narrative doesn't align with his actions. So he just looks weak. So even from a pragmatic perspective, this doesn't make sense. Now, as a liberal, it's also more difficult for Brandon to come out and be racist like Donald Trump would in this circumstance. So he has to do this like wishy-washy, soft-pedaled baby shit. ACAP for Cutie. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. MX GDX Leno, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. So yeah. If Trump was doing what Biden was doing right now, AOC would be calling for a revolution, Lamau. I think so. I think a lot of political operatives and those who are fans of one party or the other would just absolutely behave in reactionary ways. I will say that. Anyway. And the Houthis literally do this. I know this from family members that are forced to work for the government for no pay. However, this doesn't justify bombing Yemen, but it's also important to mention the facts. Also, I'm new to the stream and I really like it here, but you guys should do a bit nicer to new cheaters like me. You wrote to something about the Houthi slavery. Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked to a lot of people in Yemen that say that this is not what is going on and that slavery is relegated to mostly tribal areas. And beyond that, once again, it's completely unjustifiable regardless of who's doing it. And if the goal is to end slavery, which should be the goal of every single person, bombing said country is, of course, as you correctly pointed out, is not going to solve that. We do not bomb Louisiana to abolish slavery in prisons, right? Because of Angola's existence, the Louisiana State Penitentiary, we are not going to turn around and bomb Angola. That would be a ridiculous thing to claim. Okay? I think we did, didn't we? What do you mean? I mean, there are examples of what we've done in other countries that did not have slavery, but the practice was instituted after our bombing. Libya comes to mind, you know? So that's something to think about. And when I say Angola, I'm talking about the Louisiana State Penitentiary that is named after the plantation that was named after the area where the African slaves were shipped from, not the country. I think it was named, I don't know if it was like racistly named that or not, but I think that was what the, I think that was the name in, since it was a plantation, right? But yeah, we're talking about Louisiana, the Louisiana State Penitentiary, where like slaves still pick cotton straight up. All right. So yeah. The IDF attempted demolitions were to create a buffer zone between Israel and Gaza, aka a war crime. No way. I mean, it's even wilder because, like, I thought they were doing it for the sake of funsies for a TikTok or something. But anyway, let's get to the IDF explosion. 21 IDF soldiers were killed after houses they lined with mines collapsed following fire from Hamas. Why were they lining the houses with mines? I've seen analysts speak of discipline and clearing mistakes today, but the idea of committing a war crime is the more pressing issue. The IDF says the buildings were to be destroyed for creating a buffer zone so residents of Kibbutz Kisufim could return. 10 residential houses in Magazi area were reportedly marked for destruction. The law on this is quite clear and unambiguous. The Rome Statute, which comprises the crimes that the ICC tries, says extensive destruction of property is not justified by military excessive destruction of property not justified by military necessity is prohibited. You cannot blow up civilian houses because you feel like it or because you're scared. It's called, Lebensraum. Okay? I think we did, didn't we? Dude, the Holy Mountain Man 9/11. I must ask you, okay? I know that you're like crying because dudes in the process of doing a war crime as ethnic cleansing continues in the Gaza Strip got blown up by their own war crime machines, okay? You're crying that this is like unacceptable, okay? If your goal is like mine, to stop the bloodshed, then you should be the loudest advocate for, Israel ceasing hostilities, right? Anyway. But yeah, this is a major amount of Israeli soldiers that were killed, that died in an explosion, okay? That died in an explosion. And it's significant because you can't really deny it. You can't cover it up. Like there's no way to soft serve this. This is like devastating news. And it directly goes against the argument that you're making that you're dominating Gaza right now. Because as far as I've seen in the Israeli news, the way that the war is being covered, and at least the popular channels, is things are going really well. And we're just like stopping the missile strikes entirely and yada yada yada. Right? But regardless, this is a violation of codes of conduct in war. The thread on this was deleted from Reddit. It just so happens the comments were critical of Israel. Yeah. No, Reddit is like completely captured, in my opinion, by Hasbara trolls. There are very few places online where you can actually have this conversation in a normal way without being like bullied, humiliated, yelled at. Reddit is not one of those places for the most part. Don't you think it's a little disgusting that you allow your chat to celebrate the deaths of innocents? First of all, do you think that the Israeli occupying force in the process of fucking mining a building are innocent? If they're innocent, then who's not innocent? What the fuck are you talking about? These are not civilians, dumbass. These are literal military combatants, armed to the fucking teeth, setting up explosive ordnance inside of civilian houses. What are you talking about? They are a belligerent occupier, currently conducting an ethnic cleansing campaign. I do not celebrate deaths regardless, just because I'm not a fucking Redditor pervert, okay? Even if even if in this circumstance Palestinians have a right to defend themselves and they're perfectly valid and perfectly just for defending themselves against the Israeli military, the Israeli occupying force, I'm still not going to celebrate it because, like, yeah, it sucks. Your chat does, though? Yeah, it sucks to suck, dude. I know. Well, here's the greatest way to not die in Gaza, okay? Don't fucking set up explosive ordinances inside of someone's house as the occupying force in Gaza. Get the fuck out of here. Here's your innocence, okay? Like, your innocence, dude. Here, you want to see more innocence? Here, hold on. Let's take a look at some more innocent civilians, dude. Damn, dude, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Look at how innocent these guys are, bro. They're so innocent. Do you guys have any more innocent civilian, small bean Israeli soldiers and their actions? Let me show you some more innocent ones. Hold on. Let's see. They got more. Eunice has a shit ton. It's not like these are secret, by the way. They posted themselves, right? Yeah. Here, let's look at some more innocents.
אבו עומרי, נותן לנו פה חצי הגדול. קצת פיתות. וואו. וואו. נכון. איציק להיזהר. תראה איזה שולחן הוא פתח לנו.
מפעל של ממתקים שמחלקים לילדים כשעושים פיגועים. אנחנו
Soldiers film setting fire to scarce water and food supplies as a flex.
שורפים אותו. אני תמיד אמרתי,
Others were seen rummaging through private homes and filming boxes of lingerie. Okay? Hold on, there's more. Let me show you more innocence.
משחקים לי פה אותה. כל הג'לביות. וכפיות ואללה ודוניה.
This soldier appears to be smashing a children's toy after entering a shop. I mean, it's a snow globe. What tactical utility is he presenting in this TikTok? What reason does the IDF have? Here are the soldiers singing a song, which, by the way, ironically, this was included in the South African ICJ case. Okay? Yeah. Here's some more innocent soldiers. IDF soldiers breaking into the safe of a Palestinian's home. Having fun with it, dude. I mean, this is literally pillaging. But yo, dude, they gotta raise morale. You know what I mean? Here, let's take a look at this. Israeli soldier dresses up as a dinosaur costume and launch bombs towards Gaza. You would never be able to do any of this, for the record. I hope you understand. You would never be able to do any of this if you weren't fighting against an enemy that has nothing, okay? That is using like bathtub rockets against your tanks, your Merkava tanks, okay? Like, that's the other part of this process. You are killing civilians. This is, you can only flex like this if you are killing civilians and not like a real standing military. Nice, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Yeah, the most fucking Reddit ass military of all time, dude. They accuse you of celebrating death when you oppose this because they celebrate death when they support it. Exactly. Now, this ain't, none of these motherfuckers are innocent, okay? They are not. They are currently engaging in an act of ethnic cleansing. When you get upset about this, it's because you see their side as valid. You see yourself closer to where they're at. That's it. You cannot put yourself in the shoes of a Palestinian. You cannot put yourself in the shoes of an Arab. You cannot put yourself in their shoes because, like, you've never been able to see that kind of, you'll never understand that kind of violence. You will never understand that kind of violence. Okay? The only time you've ever seen that kind of violence is in movies or on CNN when it's like either brown people doing it to other brown people or we're doing it to other brown people, like entire city blocks reduced to rubble. So you have no framework to understand how devastating that is. Okay? That's it. I can put myself in both shoes. It's called having empathy. Is that why you said you're right? Now do the other side? Do you have empathy? If you have empathy, why are you asking me like, oh, well, now do the other side. Now do the other side. Because it doesn't seem like this was an empathetic approach. It just seems like you're trying to, in your mind, win an argument. Let me clear it up for you very quickly. Okay? Because on October 8th, when there was celebration, I guess, of people that, of militants that like had a bunch of Israeli civilians in the back of the picture for us, I said that was condemnable actions. Those are not appropriate things to celebrate. Okay? The difference is you're doing that thing again. You're claiming to be a centrist, and many people do this to specifically be like, what's your position on this? Can you condemn Hamas? Can you condemn Hamas? Can you condemn Hamas? Well, simultaneously, the real purpose for this, because you only get upset about the one side and show one side, that's not true. There's only one side engaging currently in an insane amount of violence. I showed the other side's violence when the other side was doing the violence. Yeah. You didn't just say they were condemnable. You also condemned them. Don't want to give D fans bait, so you say you didn't condemn them. I did. I did condemn them. I did. Okay? The reason why there's only one side to the fucking violence is because it's a genocide. And the genocide is being conducted by one side, which is a superior occupying force. Okay? Come on. It's ridiculous. Come on. 25,000 Palestinians have been murdered. Come on. Be for real. Look within yourself. Like, it's we get so caught up. We get so incredibly caught up in whatever the narrative is from dominating parties. We just have no way of looking at this and like maybe pulling ourselves out of this conversation for a brief moment and going, hold on. Is this appropriate? Like, what is it cool to talk about Claudine Gay for 5 weeks? Under the framework that, like, you know, it is actually a call to genocide if you say things of, you know, say things like from the river to the sea. Why is it that always those kinds of conversations are dominated? Why is it that it's only those kinds of conversations that are dominating the media cycle? What's up with that? So who are we even against at this point? They're both destroying each other. What bad guys do we support? Come on, brother. That's crazy. There's one side that's destroying innocent civilians, okay? That's it. Yeah. And no, I will not condemn militancy that is defending its civilian population against a belligerent occupier, okay? So don't come to me and demand centrism in the middle of centrist takes in the middle of fucking ongoing active ethnic cleansing. Like, that's crazy. Very difficult for me to have some kind of empathy for the genocidaires in this circumstance. Like I've said, you know, every single death is sad, is a tragedy, okay? But I would say some are less tragic than others, if that makes sense. Very strange to me that so many people that were, you know, begging, screaming for condemnations for Hamas on October 7 have no smoke for the Israeli occupying forces at all. Talking about activists yelling from the river to the sea 24/7. Meanwhile, almost no one is covering Netanyahu saying it. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I have no words. Heartbreaking. Israel had a difficult day yesterday with the fall of 21 IDF heroes in the war in Gaza. 17 names have been released. And there was apparently a fucking general. That's crazy. Are you fucking kidding me? You had a 26-year-old general, a major general who's younger than Independence Day. Obviously, there's also rank inflation. There's rank inflation, but then there's also you know, they posthumously add one extra rank when you die. But I've never seen rank inflation to this degree, I'll be honest. I don't understand how it works like that. I also feel like this does a I feel like this is probably bad for there's no way this is correct. Like and even if it was correct, it feels like it's a bad idea to like do rank inflation of this sort because doesn't that destroy morale? Like this is a fat W. I could be wrong, but I think that's a mistranslation of Hebrew, which turns major general in English, but I don't think it's the equivalent. Oh, okay. Because like this is a major W for like every fucking bathtub rocket making Al-Qassam kid, basically. When Israel reveals it, like they just murked a fucking general, you'd be like, oh my God, That's so sick. Like that's a major boost to the morale of the defending forces in that situation. But yeah, the bodies coming home draped in Israeli flags is going to start having the same effect it did during America's invasion of Iraq? Yes.
Massive explosion and bringing those buildings down on them. We know at this point there have been 21 Israeli reservists killed. Unclear how many wounded, but Israel's prime minister saying there will be a military investigation into this and vowing that Israel will press on against its war in Hamas until total victory. But this incident is likely to raise the division in Israel about what total victory looks like and to increase the pressure on Netanyahu to focus more on bringing the hostages home.
Hi, everyone. George Steph.
Young officials not usually a thing. IDF's superb army is a myth. If IDF fighters in any regular army, it'd be disastrous for them. Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys understand, like, what these guys were doing is completely unjustifiable, okay? They died while engaging in directly well-documented and well-celebrated war crimes, okay? IDF's conduct that brought about 21 of their soldiers being killed yesterday isn't out of place either, but it appears to fit a larger scale of pattern of behavior that exceeds the boundaries of what is permissible, entirely wanton in character. Sorry for blowing up your ears harder than the IDF did. Like, Mossad commentary posted this voluntarily. It's like directly a war crime. Been trying to review exactly how Intel would handle the situation as well. Regarding military necessity, the IDF could prove that buildings within that distance from the border were being used systematically for military activities over time. Would it not fall under military necessity? Does that type of alleged doctrine even meet the criteria of military necessity? Criteria enough to outweigh the protections given to civilian infrastructure? Till now, other than claiming the area was being used for terror infrastructure, the IDF has not provided evidence. The IDF said it was to create a buffer zone for residents to return to the kibbutz. This isn't military necessity that would permit destruction of civilian buildings. Are Israeli people also putting pressure on the government? I saw a video about citizens storming government offices. Yes, they are. Did you know that according to the UN analysis, the Israelis have murdered a higher percentage of civilians compared to combatants in the attacks on Gaza than Hamas did on October 7th? Yes, that has been the case. I've been saying that. That's why I sometimes jokingly, but also sometimes not jokingly, say that Hamas is the lesser evil between Israel and Hamas. It is true. All right. Anyway, speaking of